Morning. So this morning I want to focus on the neck and give you some tips and information that can help you to get out of neck pain. If you have pre-existing issues, have had surgery, have had any bulging discs, or any sort of bone issues, some of these exercises will still be able to help you on a very, very small scale. I also want you to remember that even though we're focusing on the neck, it's never just one area. We've got the whole body, and we're such a network that it's always important to prep the body first with some of the breathing that we've learned, some of the core work that we've learned, and some of the hip stuff that we've learned in past videos. So I encourage you to start with those. Warm the body up, get the body primed, get the body prepped, and then you can bring these neck exercises into the mix. Now, I purposefully wanted to do the neck series after the shoulder work because they're so interconnected. And so some of the work that we've done in the shoulder series and the shoulder exercises are going to be able to help prime you for the neck stuff as well. So you can see we're kind of working our way up, going from the bigger to the more smaller areas, and that's going to be one of the best ways that you can have longer lasting results and have things stick and not just have a nice stretch for the moment and then it's gone and the pain's back again. So this is a way to apply your work so that you can feel the best you can feel and have it last for a longer period of time. Now, consistency is key. So you always have to be doing something to move your body and to move your body well. It's not just one-time pow. Yeah, you have to keep moving and keep applying the exercises on the daily, like brushing your teeth. So you can do them at any time in the day that feels right for you. A lot of times mornings is a great way to start. Sometimes even doing it twice a day, maybe if you had a long amount of time at the computer or at the desk sitting, and or in the evening right before bed. It could be a great way to get you so that you're in the best place to be sleeping well and in the most comfort. So we'll get into it, the exercises for the neck, but remember, go back to the other videos so that you can get the other pieces well established and primed so you get the best out of this next series. Now, a couple of things to remember and know is that the head weighs about 10 pounds. So if I were to take this weighted ball here, and if I were to hold it real close to me for, I don't know, let's say 10 minutes, not too bad, not too rough on my arms. However, if I start to hold it out here for 10 minutes, yeah, I'm gonna start to feel it in my arms. My biceps are definitely gonna get a bit shaky. My arms and shoulders are gonna get tired. If I'm holding the ball way out here and putting even more tension onto that lever, it's gonna get harder. So you can see this ball as an example of our head on our neck. If we're right stacked over the spine and things are being held in a nice alignment and our foundation is supporting us well, it's pretty good. We're not working too hard, the neck's not having to strain. But any amount away from that center line that the neck is going, whether it be forward, side, back, it's going to be starting to put strain on that neck. So we're looking to get, again, back into really nice alignment so that we're giving that neck a fair chance to get out of pain. Okay, so that's the first piece. The other thing that I want you to remember, or at least have an idea of, is how many muscles are going in around the neck. It's pretty complicated, so that's why it's not a simple issue. So if you look here, you can see how many little muscles in and around the neck, and they're going all around to the collarbones, to the shoulders, in between the vertebra of the neck. And then if we add a layer, now we've got that bigger top layer, we've got the trap, and we've got all these muscles that come from the neck down into the shoulders, into the chest, into the upper back. So you can see there's tons and tons of stuff pulling, potentially pulling and holding and gripping. Now, there's contraction, right? The contraction of a muscle. And there is a concentric contraction, which shortens a muscle, or an eccentric contraction, which lengthens the muscle. Two types of contractions. And then there's also, of course, isometric, which is more of just like a hold. Now, in my mind, there might be actual terms for this, but in my mind, you can have a conscientious or a conscious concentric contraction, or a conscious eccentric contraction where you're choosing to do it, or else you can have like a default where it's in grip mode. You're not choosing to do it, it's just by default getting tense or tight. So the perfect example of that would be like our upper traps. For a lot of us, like we've talked about in the shoulder work, when the shoulders are forward and the neck is forward, all these upper trap muscle fibers are in this eccentric contraction. They're actually in a long position. And then on top of that, they're gripped. So to me, that's a default contraction where it's in a stretch position. So it's a weird thing because your body's telling you, oh, stretch, stretch, stretch. So you're stretching it, you're doing all these things. And in the moment, it feels really good, but that's not going to be the long-term fix. In fact, what you need to do to that area is you need to find a way to shorten and kind of give them a little slack so they can breathe for a second. Otherwise, they're in this tense mode the whole time, and it's going all the way up into the neck and head. Oftentimes, you're getting headaches, you're getting eye pressure. It starts this whole downward spiral. So remembering that we want to be able to preset the shoulders to get those muscles into the right sort of alignment or spacing so they're not defaulted in an extended contraction, and vice versa. They're also not in a defaulted concentric contraction. So we want to be able to find that really nice place of the shoulders and get that setting. So remember that a couple of weeks ago, we worked on the shoulder setting. And it was just very easy. You want to feel your shoulders just glide up. You want to feel the arms spiral and the shoulder blades glide back. And then let the shoulder blades and the arm bones just settle down very easily. So you don't want to be forcing it down. You're just kind of helping everyone get into the right place on the back of the rib cage. And then once you're there, this is where we can start to get into some of our neck work. Now, there are two main scenarios that I'm going to focus on with the neck that we see so often, and there's many, many more, but we're just going to focus on two. So one of the common neck positions that we'll see comes from a compensation from rounded or kyphotic back and then shoulders. So once we start to do this, because we're at the computer so much, in order for us to see the world, the neck has to adjust to be able to look forward. So we end up getting this rounding in the thoracic and then this overarching in the neck. Does that look familiar? Yes, it does. So we've kind of got this drooped and then forward head, kind of like a little turtle head coming out like this. You can see it's really short and tight here. And actually, this is very over elongated and overstretched. So to me, this is where we're seeing that default eccentric contraction and then a default concentric contraction. So that's the first scenario. The second scenario of the neck that we see so much is this one. Right? So we've got now this like falling head, falling neck. Our necks are at this really sharp angle for so much of the time. In fact, sometimes it almost looks parallel to the floor. And so now with this, if we're never looking up, we've got default eccentric contraction here. Those upper neck muscles and trap muscles are overworking, and these ones are in constant contraction. So when something is in a default mode, no matter eccentric or concentric, it will create weakness. So even though the muscle's tight and hard, it doesn't mean it's strong. Oftentimes it actually means that it's weak. So that's why we got to get back to the balance of making the right areas short, the right areas long. Everyone's going to get strong, And then your neck can support that 8-pound head. Okay, so let's get into some of these exercises and we'll work on looking at both scenarios. This can be done sitting or it can be done laying down. I'm going to show you it laying down first because it's very nice to have the help of gravity to help you find these positions and stretches. It's simple. It's a little more on the passive side. It's not going to be a lot of hard work. Remember, we're trying to kind of slough off those really deep old patterns that are stuck there. Once those guys are out, then we can start to layer in more strength and more of the refinement to the bigger muscles and the bigger movements that we do. So let's get into the movement. All right. So you're going to want to lay on your back. And for a lot of you, you're going to want to have like a towel or a small pillow for your head to rest upon. And just settle for a couple of breaths as we usually do. I'm going to kind of fast forward it for time's sake. But let's do a little shoulder setting here where the arms are going to float, palms are going to turn up. You're going to let the shoulders sink back and down, letting them rest into the floor, keeping the arms just in a light hover here at this angle. With the arms up, it's this nice lever that allows for the shoulder to settle back more automatically into the ground, so we're not forcing it or tensing. Let the head be nice and heavy into the pillow or into the towel beneath you. And then you're going to work on just giving a little bit of an extra squeeze with the shoulder blades, nothing to create tension, just a little bit of squeeze. And then for scenario one, what we're trying to do is lengthen the back of the neck and contract the front of the neck. So you want to feel the back of your neck, the base of your skull gently press or melt into your pillow. And you're going to gaze down a little bit in the direction of your knees. And then you're going to relax. Again, set the shoulders, a little squeeze there. And then gaze down like doing a little nod downward so that the back of the skull can stretch and expand and press into the pillow. And then relax. You'll do that one more time. You'll do that a lot more times, but I'm just going to do it one more time. Feeling that length and that stretch in the back of the neck. And then relax. In between, you can rest your arms. So now you're going to add a turn to the head. Set those arms again. They can be rested too if you need them to be. But like I said, the shoulders settle a little better with the arms floating. You're going to set that nod down first, keeping the ribs settled and abdominal settled. Then you're going to look to the right hand and potentially over to the right shoulder. And then you'll scan right back to the knees and relax. And then again, preset the shoulders, nod down, looking towards the knees. And look over to the left hand, over to the left shoulder as much as you can, keeping the back of the head very heavy. And then come back to the center. And so that's what it would look like if you're adding the head turn, so you can get all the neck muscles around the side and all the ones that spiral. And so that's one of the exercises that you can do. Another exercise is to now reintroduce that curve, that arch to your neck. Similarly, but to the different direction, you're going to feel the head heavy. You're going to preset your arms. You're going to feel the head arch, gently looking up. Keep that head heavy. So now you're nodding up. The chin goes to the sky. The eyes are looking back. And go to where it's comfortable. And then from there, relax. So again, you'll just slowly roll towards the crown of the head, arching. Keep the shoulders settled back. And neutral. I'll do that one more time. And arch. Now, from here, I'll add the turn. You can look to the upper right corner. You can look to the upper left corner. Come back to the center each time and then come back to 0 and release. And so that would be for scenario 2, where you're going to arch the neck and you're going to look side to side. Now, if you want to do full range, getting that full range of motion, we'll combine it. So imagine for a second that you're laying inside of a huge clock. We've got 12 o'clock up here, and then all of our numbers, 3 and 9 to the sides, and then 6 down at the bottom. So how that will look is we'll preset the arms, set the shoulders back with a very gentle squeeze, a nice heaviness. You're going to look down to 6 o'clock, and then you're going to look around to all the numbers, around to 12, continuing all around, looking at all of those numbers until you're back down at the 6 o'clock, and then reverse. Take your time going around. And for those of you, again, who might have something a little more serious going on, keep it super small. In fact, you can do it with just your eyes. So for those of you, like I said, who have something pre-existing, keep it small. Even just the thought of doing it or the internal imagery of doing something like this is so powerful and so beneficial. You can do this all just with your eyes, and you can be doing this laying down or sitting or standing. The nice thing about laying down is you've got the weight of your head, and you're more in that pattern of staying heavy in the head and not trying to overuse those neck muscles. With the eyes, similarly, you might just do like a gaze down, a gaze up. You can do side to side without moving the head too much. And then you can do the whole circle around the socket. And this is really beneficial because of the occipital nerve going to the occiput, or the stimulation of that relationship to the back of the skull, to the occiput, which then relates you to your neck. So it's a really nice way to start, even maybe before you do some of these big movements, just doing some of your eye exercises, up, down, side, side, slow circles. If you're someone who gets pretty dizzy from doing this, and in the beginning you might, then you can just do it with your eyes closed. Take it slow so you don't get nauseous. And so I hope that helps. Those are some of the neck exercises I wanted to provide for you today. Oh, one other thing. So when you're doing that second exercise where you're arching your neck on your back there, another piece that you can add to it is an underbite, like this. If you have an underbite, it stretches even more that tissue that's here. And so you can try doing the nod up with your bottom jaw under and side to side. You can give that a try and you'll see it's much more of a stretch. Okay, so I think that's it now. I hope that helps you guys. Please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I don't have any neck specific videos on my website yet, but we'll soon have some. Otherwise, you can go, and I just posted a shoulder video that can help assist you, and that will also be a nice way to help the shoulders, help the neck. All right, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Take care.